Welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel, where we've been playing with a variety of second-hand, repurposed, and hacked-together satellite equipment. Now, my main problem with a lot of this satellite dish stuff is that I don't have automatic aiming. So if I want to get a low Earth orbit satellite, I have to go out and physically move the antenna around to follow the satellite. This little dish here has a motorized mount, which I've used for some other stuff, but this mount doesn't have full range of motion. It won't go a full 90 degrees straight up. It won't go a full 360 degrees around. It gets stuck. It's slow. It's designed for security cameras, so it's really not ideal, even though I've used it in a few videos. These little tailgater dishes do have full range of motion, but they are very limited in what they can see. Right now they can only see very strong KU band TV satellites, so they're not useful for weather satellites. They're not all that useful for radio astronomy or any of the other stuff I want to do. So today what I'm going to try to do is reuse this little 30-inch dish, take it off of the motorized mount, and turn it into something a little more manual, which might actually be a little better. Now, I do have a different pan tilt mount, actually designed for a solar panel, which I have ordered, and that's supposed to be coming. I'm going to have to program that to use it for satellites versus solar panels. That'll be a different video in the future. It's going to take a while for that to even show up. But for now, we're going to try to reuse this 30-inch dish for something a little more immediate. As I may have mentioned in some earlier videos, this isn't actually a satellite dish. This is designed for long-range wireless networking. But any parabolic dish like this should work with about any frequency, and I've put a variety of different feed horns here at the center to try to get different frequencies like L-band, S-band, etc. Now, I'd like to use that dish for the L-band, which is in about 1.5 to 1.7 gigahertz, or at least the satellites I'm interested in are in that range. The geostationary GOES weather satellites, the low Earth orbit HRPT NOAA satellites, and maybe some Inmarsat and some other stuff. Now, I've tried making some helical antennas using a design from another YouTuber, Derek SGC. My 3D printer is not very good, so my scaffolding that I printed out from Derek's designs came out pretty bad. I had to hot glue some together. I had to use some incomplete ones because the scaffolding didn't finish printing and just turned into spaghetti. I have actually had good luck even with these partial supports, so just winding a coil of wire and connecting that to an antenna connector. These have actually been working, so I think I'm going to continue using these helical designs and see if I can get something like that that's a little better, a little more permanent, and attach that to the 30-inch dish. So I'm going to try a trick that Marcus from the Canadian Center for Experimental Radio Astronomy suggested to me, of winding a coil of wire around an 1.5-inch piece of PVC pipe. I think this one's actually ABS pipe, but it's 1.5 inches, and that should be about the right diameter for my L-band coil here. I've also tried some of these little log periodic antennas that I got on Amazon. This works okay for the GOES satellite, which uses a linear signal, so the signal is coming in just in one plane. Some of the other weather satellites that I want to try, like NOAA and the Russian Meteor series, use a circularly polarized signal, so that's where these helix designs come in. And these are polarized in what's called left-hand circular polarization. The satellite signals are actually right-hand, so they're coming down in a right-hand spiral. But since it's being reflected off a dish, it's actually left-hand to the actual receiver part at the focal point of the dish. So basically, we just want to make sure to wind these in a left-hand direction. I know that might be a lot of random technobabble to some of my viewers because not everybody understands this stuff. I definitely don't fully understand all of it, and I've had to learn this as I go along. So I'll try not to do too many technical terms. I'll try to break it down a little bit as I go, and I will also try to link down in the description to more information, more how-to guides if you want to try this for yourself. I'm just reusing some old household wiring that I had lying around. I just want the bare copper, so I'm stripping off the insulation. Fluff seems to find the insulation really entertaining. Then I'm just winding it tightly around that PVC pipe. I'm trying to keep the spacing between winds approximately the same as the other antenna I did. Ideally, I want about 5.5 turns. I want the spacing to be about 40 millimeters apart, but this is a fairly forgiving antenna, so apparently I can just stretch it out later if I have to, and it doesn't have to be exact. Okay, we've got our coil of copper wire, and I've made the coil size and the spacing about the same as this other one that I 3D printed. So I'm hoping this is tuned for the L-band now. Now on this one with the 3D printed frame, I just used a round piece of wood that I already had and put some foil tape on it. That seemed to work pretty well. But I want to be a little bit smaller on this dish, so I'm going to go ahead and use this cookie can lid put the coil on that, stick it on there. Now with this one, I took an SMA female connector and just drilled it through the center, soldered it in place to my spiral. So the outside of that SMA connector is electrically connected to the foil tape here. The center pin is on our spiral. With this can, I think I want to do an SMA male connector because I'm going to be putting the LNA filter directly on the back of this. That has a female connector, so if I use this one, I can just hook it on there directly without another little gender changer. So I don't know exactly where this is going to focus, so I've set it up so I can kind of wind it in and out and see where the strongest signal is. Once I figure that out, I'll attach it more permanently. So I'm also going to try to include this other device, which has been kind of a toy looking for a purpose. It's my $16 MobileDemand Cyberdeck-ish tablet. It's really cool, but I have yet to find a really killer use for it. I tried Windows 7 on there, and it worked okay. The keyboard was pretty awful. I have Linux on there now, and that was kind of a headache in itself. I tried about 4 or 5 different distributions, only one of them would work. I ended up going with the Linux Mint since I already had a flash drive for that, and it was one that would actually install. Now this is a weird processor on here. It's some kind of Intel Atom that was never very popular, and the drivers for that are very hard to find, especially for Linux. So after I got Linux installed on it, I spent another 4 hours trying to get the touchscreen drivers to work correctly and then get SDR software onto it. And I'm actually going to be using this RTL SDR, which I got from a viewer. Joel Weckbacher sent me this. Thank you. That was in one of my mailbag videos, so I'm going to be using that on my MobileDemand tablet. So now we can stick our tablet onto the back of the antenna with Velcro, and we can carry the whole thing around. Alright, small problem with that idea. When I Velcroed things onto the back of the tablet, half of the battery fell off. Yeah, this is probably why no one's ever heard of MobileDemand, because they didn't really use quality control when they built these things, and their so-called rugged tablet just crumbles, literally crumbles at the touch of Velcro tape. Alright, we've got that hot glued shoddily back together, but it means I can't use the Velcro. We have these little keychain tag things at each corner of the unit. Alright, as usual, Axeman surplus to the rescue. We've got some bungees. Right now I'm just aiming the dish at the GOES East geostationary satellite. Again, this is not quite the right antenna for that. This is a helical antenna. GOES uses a linear antenna, but I can at least get some signal from it, and I can make sure that my cookie lid and mess of wire here is at the right focal point of the dish. We actually seem to be getting a halfway decent signal with that default position with the can lid right on the end of the antenna boom. So I think I'm just going to glue that in place and try it on the next low Earth orbit satellite pass, see what we get. As I mentioned in another video, I've installed Stellarium app on my phone. This is kind of a replacement for the old Satellite AR app that I used to have. That Satellite AR app was fantastic. You could pull up any satellite you wanted, aim the thing at the sky, and it would show you where the satellite is, the track it's on, all kinds of good stuff. Stellarium is kind of a second-rate substitute. It's really the only thing that still does that. It's not very easy to use. It doesn't have all the satellites with all the same names as you find them online. Some of them you have to look up with the NORAD number. And then while it's doing the live tracking, sometimes it just loses your satellite and goes back to the default view. So I can't say if this was worth spending $20 on. I really kind of regret paying money for this app, but again, it's the only thing out there that does the live augmented reality view, heads-up display view of the satellite. So it's really the best thing for tracking a moving object in the sky, because you can take your phone, stick it onto the back of your antenna like I have, so I can simultaneously track my space object, aim the dish at it, and look at the radio frequency on my other computer down here, and hopefully get the best reception that way. It would be ideal if I could get an app like this on the actual MobileDemand tablet, but I don't think it has all the same sensors as a phone, and it's not quite as good for live tracking something like this. Alright, so I'm having some success with the handheld cyber dish thing with the built-in Cyberdeck on the back. A couple more issues with it. It's not that heavy. This whole thing is only a few pounds, but Holding it over my head for a 15-minute satellite pass, it does get tiring. So yeah, that's a design flaw right there. That is why I need a motorized tracking mount that can automatically track this thing around. I don't really want to hold it over my head every time. And then since my Velcro plan failed, it's still kind of a pain to take this on and off with the bungee cords. The other problem with this little tablet is I still cannot get SatDump to run on this weird processor. I'm having to take my recorded baseband files off of this tablet, put them onto another computer, which takes a while because this is like USB 1.5 or 2 or something. It's not the fastest and latest USB, so it takes quite a while to transfer those large raw radio recordings onto a memory stick. Those things can be like 12 gigabytes for just a few minutes of satellite data. I have to say that having the phone directly on the back of the dish like this really does help with finding the satellite, tracking the satellite, and staying locked onto it. When I've been using that big dish, the big folding C-band dish, it's really hard to tell where it's pointing when you're behind it or underneath it, and it's really hard, even with the phone, to tell if you've got a good satellite lock. You've still got to look at the screen, make sure your signal looks good, and wiggle the dish around. So this method of directly aiming at the satellite dish with Stellarium, with the phone's gyro compass and all that, works really well. This is working great for Nooelec 18. I'm getting a great signal, so hopefully I'll get a good picture this time. So we've tried a few more satellite passes with this. We've gotten some pretty good recordings, but unfortunately when I run those through SatDump and try to decode them, I get just static. So I've gone through and verified my math here, and I hate math, but I've gone through and done the calculations for the focal point. I've verified that this is the correct spot for my helical feed. So I'm thinking one of the main issues here might just be my hardware and my software on the tablet. Again, this is a weird processor. It's that Intel Atom. SatDump won't run on it because it's 32-bit. A lot of the SDR programs like SDR++ won't run on it because they're only 64-bit. I've tried running some stuff on Windows. That doesn't really work. I've tried running stuff on Linux. So far, the only SDR software I can get working is GQRX, which is good. I like it. It's easy, but it's not very powerful for doing stuff like this. It doesn't record in a very good format. It's pretty laggy on here, again, probably due to the hardware and because of that weird processor. So this little Cyberdeck tablet thing is not the appropriate hardware for this particular use. We can still pop the phone on here and use Stellarium for aiming, but we're just going to be able to use the dish itself, hook it up to a real computer, and we'll have to find some other use for this thing. This is still a toy in search of a purpose. Alright, we've lost our signal. The satellite has gone over the horizon, so we're done with this pass. Now we just have to process it. Alright, so we finally got some good imagery using the laptop here to read the RTL SDR. So I was just holding up the dish with the little helical feed, the amplifier, and then my phone for targeting. And then we had the laptop sitting off to the side, so no more heavy Cyberdeck sitting on the back of the dish. The laptop was much more capable of reading those samples. This was a gift from a viewer who I think preferred to remain anonymous, but thank you, you know who you are. And this is a little more modern than some of my other laptops and a lot more lightweight. And also, the battery actually works on this. I have some other laptops of this vintage, but their batteries are dead, so I have to plug them in all the time. Also, Donnie here has claimed the laptop bag as his own, so he is the original laptop. Anyway, I'm going to throw up some overlays of some of the images I got here so you don't just have to look at me anymore. Here is Meteor M2-3 that I got last night. These are mostly infrared images because it came over when it was dark on the ground here at my location, so we're mostly getting various infrared and microphysics stuff. Then here we have some imagery from NOAA 19. These are a little nicer quality than the Meteor satellite. They are a daytime pass, so I've got more natural color daylight ground views. And then, of course, we've got other channels like infrared and whatnot. As you can see from some of the staticky sections of these images, my handheld tracking is still not perfect. My hands wiggle, bugs bite me. I am not a very good antenna mount. I'm okay, but a motorized tracking mount would be a lot better. And I am working on that in the future, but it's going to be a while till that shows up. As a quick side quest in this video, I've just received a whole bunch of more satellite gizmos from Amazon, so we've got some really cool stuff here. This is all going to show up in future videos. I don't have time for it in this one, but We've got a little Iridium patch antenna kit and VNA from Nooelec. This looks really cool. We've got some panel mount in connectors, so I don't have to keep using my VHF connectors for all of my antennas. We've got this little position sensor, which is going to be very useful when I get around to doing my dish, motion control, motorized azimuth elevation. We've got this very interesting Venturi antenna panel thing. I didn't quite realize it was this big when I ordered it. But some more end-mount panel connectors. We've got another LNA from Nooelec. This is a wideband unit that I'm hoping to use for S-band. I'm not quite sure if it's going to work for it, but at least it's something to play with. Another little PCB antenna. I might have to do some kind of a comparison video where I see how all these PCB antennas work in the real world for various applications. And since my briefcase of satellite garbage is getting a little out of hand, I've got a tackle box. So now instead of this mess, and also this mess, because every time I try to organize this stuff, it doubles in volumes. This is really starting to be a problem. I already need a bigger tackle box. Anyway, we're going to wrap this video up. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little foray into Cyberdeck stuff that didn't really work out, but more so satellite tracking stuff, HRPT, high rate picture transmission stuff, microwave satellite weather image downloading. These are all things that I'm trying to increase my knowledge about, get more skilled in, and hopefully we'll be able to do some more stuff with this in the future as I get better with all of it. Once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.